Okay, spiritual mind treatment. We have to recognize whether you are in the coaching program or whether you are in the practitioner program or beyond that, that spiritual mind treatment is one of our primary practices. It is primary because it is really the thing that helps us reprogram the subconscious mind and bring truth into consciousness, expanding and delivering us to the life of our dreams. So, what is spiritual mind treatment? Spiritual mind treatment is the movement of energy upon universal law for a specific demonstration and manifestation. What does this mean exactly? We're spiritual beings. We're moving energy upon universal law, which is one with the subjective and subconscious mind, for a specific demonstration and manifestation. So we use this symbol a lot, which is the universal symbol of the creative process. So spiritual mind treatment, what is happening with this, right? On the top, we have the conscious mind, that part of ourselves that decides and declares through the spiritual mind treatment, right? We have the subconscious mind, which is the automated system, the soul, the subjective mind, which is also one with universal law. And then at the bottom, we have the effect and form. So when we're doing spiritual mind treatment, what we're doing is it's like light. If you put light into a room that's dark, the dark goes away. Okay. So spiritual mind treatment is literally piercing into the masculine aspect that is implanting the seed of truth into the subconscious mind, which is the feminine aspect of the soul, which is the womb, which births the truth, which does it automatically. A mother doesn't have to try and make a baby. She just is there and it just births, right? It's like it grows naturally, automatically inside of her. And this is the subconscious mind, which is the feminine aspect of thyself. We both have masculine and feminine aspects. And the effect is the form. So if we're doing spiritual mind treatment with our clients or for ourselves, what we're doing is we are declaring, we are knowing the truth wholeheartedly. Okay. And we're going to go through the steps of what this looks like, because we can't even get to that place where we're able to pierce the subconscious until we've accepted what is. Okay. So we want to go through this. Frequency and vibration is what informs the subconscious mind. Frequency and vibration is how the soul listens, how the universe listens. It listens through frequency and vibration. So how does spiritual mind treatment work? It works through frequency and vibration. So how do we create frequency and vibration? It's identity. The moment that you decide that you're something other than the I am, you have a limited identity. And that identity creates the beliefs, who you be and what you live, right? And those beliefs create the thoughts of how you see things, your perceptions, all those things. And those thoughts create the feelings. The feelings are the vibration. The feelings are what creates and actually is the key factor to spiritual mind treatment. You can say all the right words all day long as a coach, but it doesn't matter. If you don't feel the backing of it, if you don't feel it with such conviction, with your heart, with your soul, with the feeling, it's not going to work, because that is what makes and transmutes the energy, which creates the emotions, which creates the circumstance of your client's life, your life. You're treating yourself when you do a spiritual mind treatment. So spiritual mind treatment, basically you can take a look at all the circumstance. So say your client comes in and they are having resistance in their relationship, right? They have a limited belief or they have a resistance in life. This is the negative aspect that is inverting and dividing and having a negative aspect in the soul essence, right? We accept through, it's actually putting in the positive that makes it into the neutrality of the acceptance. And then we're making a new declaration through the spiritual mind treatment. And this is what's having and actually creating in the polarization. We can stay in that God factor of that nothingness, the backing of all creation, but we're here to express, we're here to have an experience. So we're in the positive, we're directing energy in the universe. We're directing it for a specific demonstration and manifestation. So when your clients come to you, they're asking for something. Obviously, they need to be able to accept things first before they can do anything with it. If they resist it, it can't do anything. What resists persists. But once we accept it, then we can make a declaration. It's the same thing in prayer. We're going to learn how do we first accept things, and then we pull it into a declaration. Then we direct it into a declaration. Okay. So when to use spiritual mind treatment? When not to use spiritual mind treatment, right? Anytime you're not feeling empowered, when you're feeling like the effect of life or a victim of a circumstance, when you desire to raise your vibration or want to feel more joy, when you want to improve the quality of your thoughts and inspired actions, when you want to reveal the truth about dis-ease or health, when you're having relationship issues or desire to love unconditionally, when you need clarity in your career or money situation, or when you're having a negative emotional state and aren't able to transmute the energy. The point is this: when to use spiritual mind treatment. Anytime that you're not feeling in flow. Anytime you're not feeling in flow. Anytime you're feeling a resistance or the effect of life. Anytime that you don't feel fully empowered in any area of your life, right? Or even just to get high on life. I mean, when not to do spiritual mind treatment. Your life can be a spiritual mind treatment. So there's two types of spiritual mind treatment. There's argumentative and there's realization. We're going to go through both of these. So argumentative, the best analogy of this is actually imagine that you're at the court of law and you're in front of a judge and you get to make a case. And the case is you either can or you can't. That's the case you're going to make, right? You either can, prevail in your career and money. You either can prevail in your relationships. You either can prevail or you can't. You have to make a case. And this is what you're doing in argumentative spiritual mind treatment. You're making the case for truth. You're making the case for the potential of whatever you desire. You're making the case that whatever you desire in your heart is your destiny. You are arguing. You're having the facts of that this, argument that you have with your partner is not going to define you. That you right here, right now, by the power of your word, decide that you can create and heal and reveal through that argument with your partner, right? You're taking in the circumstance of whatever the proof is that you can't do it, and you're arguing against that proof. This is an argumentative prayer. So argumentative spiritual treatment this is where you use spiritual logic to argue for the truth. In this type of treatment, you acknowledge the unwanted circumstances of your life, and you actively make the case to the absolute spiritual truth. For example, if you were experiencing lack of money, you would make the case of the truth of the universe, which is that there's only abundance and that you can claim it now, right? This type of treatment is not as frequently used because it tends to interfere with focusing on directing energy upon universal law. It depends on who you are. I use argumentative treatment all the time because I actually use the frustration. I use the upset. I use whatever's there, and I like to transmute it. It depends your style on what you like. Thomas Troward, I think this quote sums it up. This is the triumph of principle over precedent, of the working out of idea to its logical conclusion, despite the accumulated testimony of all past experience to the contrary. You're arguing. Thomas Troward was a lawyer. He was a profound teacher in our movement that took the wisdom of the East and put it in with Christianity from a lawyer's standpoint, breaking it down with distinctions, breaking it down with really understanding the logic of all the law, understand the logic of our spiritual nature. It should break down scientifically along with spiritually. So the 7 steps of argumentative spiritual mind treatment. 1 is recognition. We recognize this omnipotent one source, the oneness. Number 2 is identification. I recognize I am that Stephanie is that Malvina is that everyone is that. I declare that this is the truth of who they are, right? Number 3 is declaration. So I declare right now by the power of my word that Stephanie absolutely is able to heal through the upset with her partner. I'm just using an example, right? I declare right here that she knows and has the wisdom within her of all innovation, all love, all prevailing, everything. And then we bring in the condition. I recognize that no matter, even if she's upset, even if she's, her husband wants a divorce, whatever's there, that I declare right now, the declaration, she knows exactly the information, the wisdom, the know-how, everything. She has all the heart, the love. She is that. And she knows exactly what is here right now for her to embody, to be the mental equivalent for her to prevail with her husband, right? Number 6 is gratitude. And in this, I energize as if it's already happened. I know, and I see in my mind, the divine mind, her husband, her completely prevailing through all of this, knowing that they have all the answers within. They know exactly how to heal and reveal and prevail through all things. I am so grateful to witness the love, the testimony of true love withstanding the test of time. And in 7, releasing. I release this. I know there's no fixing, trying to figure it out for Stephanie or for her husband, that we release this. It's been heard in the universal law, which is the divine mind. It is done, 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 as together we say, and so it is, okay? Next is realization prayer. So there's two types, right? There's one that's argumentative and there's one that's realization. And this one is just 5 steps instead of 7 steps. So realization, this is where you reveal the truth within your consciousness. In this type of treatment, you completely turn away from the circumstance and focus on the spiritual truth. For example, if you're experiencing lack of money, you would not think of the situation, but rather would focus on truth. So say, for example, someone has stage 4 cancer. You wouldn't even acknowledge the cancer. You would simply know the perfection of health. You wouldn't even bring it into the prayer, okay? The 5 steps of realization, spiritual mind treatment, is very similar to the other one. It's just 5 steps instead. So it's recognition, identification, declaration, gratitude, and release. And we're going to go over these again in a moment. So how to do a spiritual mind treatment. So I'd like actually for each and every one of you to think about what it is that you would like a spiritual mind treatment for, okay? So before taking the steps of spiritual mind treatment, and with your clients as well, it's best to set the intention. You don't set the intention for your client. You think that you ask them, what would you like to know the truth around, right? What are you ready to heal? Who are you ready to become? What limitations are you ready to let go of? What are you ready to embody? Were you ready to be set free? You let your client or yourself answer this before you get intentional with the spiritual mind treatment, okay? So you're going to state the condition or circumstances of your life where you're ready to reclaim your power and know the truth. So step 1 is recognition. We're going to go over the realization. Okay, we're just going to do the 5 steps here. So right here and right now, step 1, let's just take a deep breath in together and exhaling out, just enjoying this entire process. This step acknowledges that all of life is created from one source. It is the one life force, one infinite creative substance which resides within and as everything. You recognize that the first cause is spirit, which is consciousness. In this phase, you acknowledge eternity as both finite and infinite, the microcosm and the macrocosm. In recognizing this divine intelligence as the first and only cause of all of life, you begin to open your consciousness to the unbounded truth. The first principle of spiritual mind treatment is understanding that there's one infinite intelligence. There's one thing. An example is in the sacred moment, focusing on the breath of inhaling and exhaling. I notice the point where they come together. In this state of presence, I experience where the finite transcends into the infinite. I recognize that there's no breath without a body to breathe it. There's no oxygen to breathe without the trees that have been nourished by the sun, rain, and Mother Earth. I acknowledge that this life force touches all, interconnects every one of us to the entire universe. This life force nourishes every cell of my body. It is a spark of every thought. It's the same divine source that holds the stars in the sky and turns night to day. And in this, which connects all of life to the body, mind, and spirit, transcending the life cycle of your humanness into your eternality, I recognize that there's only consciousness, this one life force that has created every last drop of the universe. So what are we doing here? We're just recognizing the one source, the oneness and the unity. It can be said in one sentence. It doesn't have to be profound. What has to be felt is the actual feeling, the feeling of seeing everything coming from one source, whether it be cancer, whether it be a breakup, a divorce, whether it be anything. You have to see that it's all created from this one thing. In creating it from chaos or from harmony or from the inversion of or from alignment, it's all created from the recognition of the one source. Step 2 is identification. Step 2, having recognized that magnificence and awesomeness power of the one presence that is absolutely everything, you identify the same intelligence as your consciousness. The truth is you're not treating your clients. You are treating your own mind because your mind is the divine mind, which is their divine mind. You're not treating your clients ever. You're treating your mind. And when you hold that potential in the universe, that's when the miracle happens. That's when they can receive it or not. Within the step is the identification of your individual mind as the universal mind, revealing the truth of your highest consciousness. You awaken, become aware of your divine nature and ability to create all of life. This is a revealing of spiritual inclusivity and understanding that there's no such thing as duality. There's no such thing as a separate thing called evil. All of life is one grand organism of consciousness. For example, taking a deep breath in As I step into the consciousness of oneness, I realize my true identity is the I am. Within me is the highest consciousness that is the same creative substance that has created mountains and the greatest inventions of our ancestors. There is no division. There is only divine. I am the Alpha and Omega, the infinite and the finite, the individual consciousness, the highest consciousness. I am aware of my divine nature and the truth of my spiritual nature. And if I were praying for my client, I would pray for their name, but I'd put this in as I step into consciousness, the one I realize and recognize right now that Lindsay is the I am, that she is the highest consciousness. Okay. So if I'm praying for a client, I'm still praying in my mind for my mind, but I'm holding them in my consciousness. Okay. If I'm praying for myself, I'm going to speak about myself. I'm holding it wherever consciousness goes, energy flows. Okay. Step 3. Declaration. Declaration. In this step, you direct energy upon the cause and effect universal law for a specific outcome. With the frequency and vibration of your word, you declare and command the creative medium. You summon and set the intelligence into motion, knowing that it corresponds and reflects your beliefs as the circumstances of your life. This is done through the conviction of your thought and feelings that back your words. This is where you reveal the truth about the circumstances of your life. This is where the healing takes place, the revealing of the truth of who you are. Again, you do not treat for conditions to change. You treat for the healing within the mind that has caused the conditions. Do you guys get that? You do not treat for the conditions. You don't treat for cancer. You don't treat for the circumstances of a relationship. You don't treat for scarcity. You treat for the limited belief in the mind. You declare the truth, the abundance, the only love, the revealing. You reveal spiritual truth in the step. You act as the masterful conductor of the specific grand symphonic song through your word. Let's take a deep breath in together. I declare that within me is total clarity because the soul is never neutral. I know that within me is a great passion, so great that is the gift I am to give to the world. It is myself in its highest expression. I know that within my subconscious mind is a bubbling forth of its purpose. I declare that truth comes forth now with total clarity of my purpose and calling. In speaking my word, I inform the subjective mind and set the universal mind into action. There is only clarity and joy at the heart of my being. And so if I was doing this for a client, I would say I declare that within Lindsay is total clarity because her soul is never neutral. Okay? You guys get it? That it depends on where I'm placing my consciousness and what my intention as a practitioner, as a coach, this is practitioner work, okay? Step 4 is gratitude. Gratitude is everything. This is where we energize. In this step, you shift your attitude with gratitude, transcending the thing itself further into action. It is through gratitude that you open your consciousness to receiving good. This state of mind is the highest vibration of energetic flow. Within this joyous state, you imagine that knowing wholeheartedly that whatever has been desired, directed, and demanded has already been created in consciousness. It's the truth, you guys. And in being delivered now through the universal medium of the law of correlation. The law, this only conscious work to do is to bask in the receiving and elation of the prayer being answered. So just imagine, you've done your declaration, you've known the truth of who you are. Now this is receiving. I think we should change this to receiving. It's giving gratitude, but gratitude is receiving. There's no difference, right? So example, taking a deep breath in. And so I energize this truth of the vibration, my feeling of gratitude. I am so grateful for the purpose and clarity. I am so grateful for this revealing. Within my consciousness, I see it. I feel it now. I bask in the mental answer that has been revealed. I receive my purpose and calling. I receive my joy and bliss. And for Lindsay, I know, and I energize this truth with the vibration of feeling of gratitude. I know and so grateful to see her in her purpose and calling. I see it now. I feel it now. I see her totally thriving in her purpose as she's bringing it out to the world right now. It is known in the divine mind. Okay. And then lastly, step 5, very important step, obviously, with all of them. Step 5 is release. In this step, you let go of all things of outline and control how things. We don't try and fix it. Now go, here's the whole, concept of how to do it. This is the conscious handing over of your life to your higher self. This is the peace and joy, right? This is the declaration, commitment to live in faith and act out divine inspiration only. This is the art of allowing. So for example, taking a deep breath in through the nose And now I release my word to universal law, knowing that my word is law. And I set polarity of the universal law into action. I let go. I step into grace. I know the perfection of the unfoldment, allowing my highest consciousness to flow. It is done. As together we say, and so it is. Okay. So let's just finish this off again. A traditional session, you would be doing an invocation, education, a worksheet, or a coaching session, spiritual mind treatment, homework, and benediction. Okay. So invocation and benediction, to answer the question earlier, an invocation and benediction is kind of like a mini spiritual mind treatment. You can do with it what is inspired for you. An invocation sets the tone and intention. So I like to set the intention with the client to know what it is that they truly want to know in mind. What do they truly want to be revealed in the truth, in their vibrational match, in who they want to become, okay? It's not about fixing something out there or getting rid of this problem, right? It's really asking, what's your intention of who you want to become and embody? The benediction is at the very end of a session, which is acknowledging the blessings and benefits, okay? So really just, it can be short, it can be longer, depending on when you did your spiritual mind treatment, just really acknowledging the blessings and benefits of what happened, okay? So what's possible out of spiritual mind treatment? We'll go through this real fast. Relationships and love, what's possible is to no longer repeat the same vicious cycles, to no longer play the blame game, to no longer project your past into relationships, to no longer get triggered and negatively react, to no longer have unhealthy boundaries. What's possible in love relationship? Freedom to radically and unconditionally love. What's possible in career and money? To no longer sabotage your success, to no longer be unable to complete projects, to no longer be stopped because you're overwhelmed, to no longer be confused and hopeless. What's possible? To thrive and live a life of prosperity. What's possible in health and vitality? 90% of all doctors' visits are stress related. What's possible is to find peace within and witness miracles. What's possible in your purpose and calling? To do what you love and make an impact doing it. Yes.